steal stuff.
All right, hey everybody, I think we're gonna get started. Another light meeting today, but I don't think we need to worry too much about meeting quorum because we're not making any big decisions. So, yeah.
Want to do introductions?
Yeah, quick round of introductions. Maybe if the folks that are in person can introduce themselves, I think hopefully we can everybody read the names that are on the screen. Maybe just if anybody on Zoom ends up speaking, if you could just introduce yourself first so folks know who's online. But I'll start. My name's Jude. I am the president of North Star Community Council and your MC for this evening, because I am the Coalition of Delegates liaison.
Charlie Walsh from Mountain View.
Cameron Rader from the FCC Community Council.
Evelyn Plunkett, Russian Jack.
Darrell Parks Jr.
Glenn Justice, Eagle River Valley.
Happy Gleason, Termigan.
Roger Shaw, Scenic Foothills.
All right, great. We'll get going here. First item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or changes or objections to the agenda as it is? Hearing none, agenda is approved. Same thing with the minutes. Any objections, changes, or additions to the minutes from our last meeting, which should be in your packet, and that is our June 17th meeting. We didn't have one in July. Hearing none, those are approved. Wanting to roll right into the board of directors update, which I think Sarah had volunteered to do.
No, she said she couldn't do it. Yeah, she won't jump on until 7.
No worries. I guess she can. Oh, she can go on 7.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be prepared though.
Oh.
That's what she had questioned about.
Well,
I do. Yeah. So at the board of directors meeting, the board of directors, passed a small change to the budget, very similar to what you guys have done in the past. It was reflecting some of the small changes that happen as the year progresses. Obviously, the budget is a goal. Our rules say that any change of 10%, we have to move stuff around. So the employment fund, we weren't spending as much on staff costs as originally anticipated. And so some of that money is getting moved around a little bit. The board also approved a small change to the office. I'm saying this. Okay. We are moving, but we're not moving buildings. We're just going upstairs. So an upstairs suite became available for the office. It is slightly cheaper rent. There's some really great reasons for us to not be by the front doors if you've been in the office. And so this will give us some privacy. It also breaks the space into 2 offices, which gives Allie and I some privacy. So the board approves that. And we love a decrease in rent as well. We are not leaving the building. We still have access to all the same stuff. You will still call when you get here and we will let you in, all of that fun stuff, but we'll just be upstairs. And so we can do a tour in October or something where we can show everybody. So the plan is to move October 1st. We should be fully moved in before the board meeting. We also approved some spending. So that included do you want to talk about the?
Yeah. I just pulled the minutes for myself. So a couple of the spending things that were approved at the board of directors meeting were we have extra funding from unencumbered funds. Just general funds, right? From 2025 that we need to spend since it's come to the end of our fiscal year. And so we moved and approved using those for public service announcement style campaign with the intent of increasing community awareness for community councils. So the goal with that is to use those extra funds we have left over in our budget to spread the word about community councils, just generally, hey, these are community councils, make things like those packets. you're looking at, and do advertising, to just generally make sure people know about this cool thing we all do. And then we also approved some use of 2026 funding. We have a fund in the FCC budget that is called postage and distribution. It's like a line item in the budget. And typically the way that that has been used is if folks come to the FCC asking to use funds, that then some money can be allocated towards community councils that reach out proactively to do things like mailers and or for mailers for the community councils or the FCC if there's anything that needs to be done. And typically we haven't always used all of that. And it's a very niche line item. And so we moved to use half of that funding that's allocated in 2026 to social media marketing, both for the FCC as well as for councils that might request it. And half for other marketing. And that's something that we were going to continue to figure out, and something that I wanted to bring up in this meeting to ask folks how you all think we could best use money that the FCC has in their budget to advertise your community councils or advertise things that your community councils care about. And some of the discussion we had around that was like, for some of the community councils, like Midtown North Star, the folks that are downtown, the folks that are in more densely populated areas, maybe bus advertising could be an interesting thing to try, something we haven't done before, or we could do social media marketing, or we could, if we think it would be useful, community councils can reach out and request like poster board, sandwich board, signs, like we might do that for North Star. But I wanted to spend some time in this meeting asking you all, like, either have something, share it, or just start thinking about how you might be able to use funds to advertise to your community councils, but with the note that it's kind of open-ended as to how we could use that. It could be on kind of any format of advertising. Go ahead.
Yeah, Happy Gleason, Turnagain Community Council. So what's the time of this budget cycle of 2026?
Ends in December.
Goes to the end of the year.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have no way of knowing if Turnagain or any other council, something like an issue, a project that would need outreach between now and then. And so I would hate to see too much money pulled out of that category of the budget to spend on, other well-meaning items until, one would know if that's gonna be needed for specific outreach because of a big, proposal and some council boundaries or the ordinance that could have a lot of effect on all councils or some in a certain area. And so that's kind of something that I know isn't used very often, but the need could arise, and that's why, for one, has always advocated that be a budget item. So how do you kind of balance, hey, if you need a sandwich board or something, let's go ahead and spend that money, and then in November, something big comes up, and we've spent all of our outreach money. So, how do you intend to balance that?
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about as the board was the fact that we hope that the money that is allocated to the FCC as much as possible can be distributed well amongst the community councils. And that's why I wanted to get the conversation going in this forum about, hey, just so you know, we do have funds that you can request. Like North Star, I don't think we realized that those funds existed, and we used some money that we had in our bank account that we rarely add to or spend from to do some mailers. But I think in hindsight, we would have maybe asked FCC to cover some of that. But
You guys did a mailer.
did you guys pay for it?
Mhm.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I guess I forgot how that went. But anyway, so just trying to encourage community councils to think more about how you can spend money, because I feel like not all of us are in the mindset of like, oh, this is an organization with funds that we can spend. It's more about us spending our time. And so, yeah, trying to get that conversation going, both how we can use the funds that are allocated to the FCC and also guiding how we want the FCC board to decide how to spend some of those funds, which is kind of the role of this group. And like, we don't necessarily have to deliberate and decide how every dollar is spent, but as much guidance as you can give the board is stuff that the board, when we talked about it, we were kind of all just we're talking about what we think might be most useful, but really just guessing because we only know as much about our community councils as we do, and also like, things we might know from just working with you all. But anything that you can do to give us more guidance is great. Which is one thing. And like you said, like if you feel like it's best to try to break up that budget in the calendar year and be like, hey, we should set aside this much and this much and this much to spend in certain periods. I think that's like a great idea and something that we'll take note of, and like a potential way that we can try to guide the use of those funds. And
The thing we had to be careful with, excuse me for interrupting, was like when we have money on the table from 25. That funding has a drop dead date associated with it. So we have to execute those, but for the 26 funds, we were looking for input from this body as to what your needs are. And if you don't have any needs,
Or we don't know them yet.
or you don't know them yet, but we have to be mindful that it's very difficult to execute those funds in large dollars towards the end of the year or towards the end of the fiscal year. These were carryover funds. I don't know what's the term date on those.
Background of this, so we had the mailer funds from 2025, you guys in 2025 set that money aside to do the boundary mailers. There was leftover money from that has been assigned to do the PSA campaign and the creation of some materials around general outreach about all community councils, right? So like lifting all boats. And then we have the 2026 funds both have the same drop dead date of December 31st, 2026. So we have to spend the 2025 money and the 2026 money. And the money is also allotted in 2027. So some of this is, well, what can we conceivably do this year? And then what do we maybe want to do next year? Some historical information about this money is that it's almost never used. Like it even if we wait to the last minute, it's not getting used. So that means we're returning money to the municipality that could be used in other ways. The other thing is that it's not enough for every council. So some councils would use all of the money and nobody else would get it. Some councils couldn't even use it, like Northeast, there's not enough money in that pot. Some councils like North Star and Glen Alps could use it 6 times over and they'd be fine, right? It's only $3,500. So
and when you talk about using it, you mean like
For
sending
mailer-
a mailer to every.
for mailers,
Yeah.
which is what we have historically used it for.
Yeah.
So kind of what ends up happening is 1 or 2 councils use it for their perennial project. I'll give Spinard use it like 3 times in a row for their trick or treat Fish Creek thing. And so saving it for the last minute is not like I think I would say like I love the breakup funding, and so maybe some of it is set for the end of the year, but also something to consider is like mailers are not maybe the most effective use of our money. Is it the best bang for our buck is a consideration. I know it's traditional for us, but we can spend, having talked with a few marketing agencies just trying to get information, like social media ads go way further. You're spending way less money and you're getting way more impact for it. And so maybe that's something that we can support community councils in is like, you do want to do outreach and we figure that out. But, even if depending on what you wanted to do and we wanted to save that money, like, I don't even know that you might get to the end of the year and want to do that outreach. And then I don't even know that we would have enough money to do it, if that makes sense. So, because the amount isn't necessarily enough for mailers for every single community council. And depending on what kind of mailer you wanted to do, there could be potential fundraising involved. So, and then also maybe only 1 or 2 councils are served in any given year, which means, it takes 35 years for us so that all councils are spread equally. Like, is that what we do where every council gets a year? That's a consideration. These are all just things we've been.
I think another thing to note too is like, if this is money that we can start consistently spending and show a benefit, then that is a reason why the FCC could ask the municipality for more money in the next round of budgeting. Like if we spend that money all of 2026 and we're really happy with the results, we can go to the community and we can pitch, hey, like this was really helpful, this helped the community in this way, let's increase that budget thing. So I think that's also worth noting. We did talk a little bit about how and then for 2027, one of our big goals is to try to set up more of a structured system for community councils to like be aware of what their options are and then apply for like mini grants to use those funds
Right,
and
we have those right now.
provide more guidance to be like, hey, this is how you could use the money, and suggestions and
Yeah,
just,
like-
like assistance in helping community councils come up with ideas how to spend money.
Yeah, like we have the civic connections, which right now is $50, but maybe that's what, maybe we grow that, make that money more impactful. Partner it with other dollars.
Good.
Well, I'm thinking about University Community Council and towards the end of this whole boundary, issue and trying to wrap things up. Steve Callahan, the president, sent out a mailer to get feedback to see whether the one council that was suggested that they leave, whether they really supported that, left the university area community council and joined another council on the east side of town. I don't think
Scenic
it-
foothills,
Scenic Foot, yeah, is
we
that
actually paid
council?
for that.
Oh, you did?
Mhm.
Well, I know, did you reimburse Steve then?
Yes,
Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't realize that.
Yep. Yeah, and so as part of the boundary mailer, all people who were affected by the boundary change got a mailer saying, hey, you're in a new community council. And I'll say that the return rates on people using the QR code was like 3%.
Yeah.
So, we did make a vital effort to reach all the potentially new community council people, right? UMed, Scenic Foothills, Tudor having like this big impact area in particular, but other councils having smaller ones. And did you see a bunch of people turn up at your meeting? Like, we sent that mailer in like March.
But in particular, he, toward the end of the whole process, actually got a survey sent out to everybody to get their feelings about it.
Yeah.
And I was under the impression he did not get reimbursed for that.
He did get reimbursed.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay,
Well,
great.
actually, we paid for it. He was gonna reimburse us and we were like, actually, it's fine, we got it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Lizzie?
Yeah, I thought this bus advertising idea was really interesting. My community council has only one bus that serves us, it's bus 55. It wouldn't make sense to only put Avalon Community Council advertising on there because it also goes through Campbell Park, UMed, and Chelsea Campbell. And then bus 55 doesn't stay bus 55. It often converts and becomes bus 35, which just goes down to Arctic and serves Spinard. So it would make more sense with bus advertising to just do it for all of the Federation of Community Councils. And I think that's really interesting because it would reach a different demographic than we normally reach out to. And it would put money into the bus system. So I like that idea.
Cool.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I've spoken, so first,
Yeah.
so.
I
Yeah,
I was one of the ones that voiced opposition to the buses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, because I live out in Chugiak and we don't have any buses. So it wouldn't have benefited us at all. But I think it's still a valid idea, and then that's why we looked at trying to get more input from this group to say, okay, what else makes sense? So,
Well, and something that's cool about the bus is that one bus runs all the routes within a given time period. So your sign goes on that bus and then it will go all over Anchorage. So we don't have to put it on every bus. We can do 4 or 5 buses for a number of weeks and hit the entirety of the People Mover bus map. Which does include some Eagle River, but not a substantive portion. But I liked that about that advertising was that you get a lot of coverage for what you're putting into it.
And Marilyn, I'll get you just a second. One last thing I wanted to add was, I think this is a good example of something where like, if you wanted to collaborate with 1 or 2 other community councils and say, hey, we're interested in asking the FCC to use some of this funding for bus advertising, would you like to as well? Like, I think if the board and the staff and Ari and Ali got a request from multiple community councils saying, hey, this is something we think would be really useful to hit a new demographic in our community council and grow our council. I think that is like a good way of kind of raising the hey, like this is like us, instead of doing a mailer, we're requesting that you pool the money that you might spend on mailers for us for this thing. Marilyn and then Kathleen.
Hi, good evening. Nice to see everyone, as much as I can see. I have a couple of questions regarding the money we were just talking about. Number one, what is it called?
What is it called?
Yes, that $3,500 extra.
What's it called?
Oh, mailing and postage and distribution.
Postage and redistribution.
Postage and distribution.
One more time.
Postage and distribution.
Okay,
And the vote that the board took was to approve the use of those funds for 2025, 2026, and going forward as general advertising rather than limiting it, that line item just to mail outreach.
okay. And then my next question is, how do you apply for these funds? If you have an idea for advertising your community council meetings.
I think it would be great to talk about the outreach committee at this point, because I do think that would be a good place for some of this information to go. So to answer your question, Marilyn, right now, all we have is the Civic Connections grant, and that is on our website. It's also, if you're in person, I put it on the last page of the packet, and it will be in the follow-up email. And so we're reimbursing for outreach up to $50 right now, and there's a conversation about increasing those funds. You want to talk about committees a little bit, but we don't have a formal process right now for applying for those funds.
And to be clear, and I'm sorry for not mentioning this earlier, we're calling this pool of funds the Civic Connections micro grants, which is a structured way of distributing those funds that we've used in the past, and we're using this money to go towards. But I think as of right now, the way that those decisions would be made is Ari and Ally would decide, hey, are we going to say yes or no to these councils? And if they feel like they needed guidance on that, they would take that to the board and ask, hey, is this something that we think is a good use of funds of the organization? We just added a new committee that I'm the chair of, the Outreach and Training Committee, that is designed for to talk about external training for community councils, like our annual summit, as well as community outreach. And the intent of that committee is to be a place for folks that are on the board or not, or are the FCC representatives or not. It could be anybody involved in the community councils could be on the committee to talk about things like making these decisions for these micro grants. So if you're interested in being a part of the process for deciding how we allocate those funds to the community councils, please let me know.
Do you want to talk about
Okay, well, I'll have to think about that. But is there a timeline for applying for the $50, and can the $50 be increased? Rogers Park Community Council has discussed in the past, not most recently, but fairly recently, about the yard signs that people put out about what are political signs in particular at this point in time, that like we're having a community neighborhood barbecue on the 12th of September. And so the person hosting it has a sign that says neighborhood barbecue, blah, 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 here on this date. So one idea that Rogers Park Community Council had and kind of still mulling over of how to get more people involved is to make these signs, get some signs made so that we can put them out prior, like the Friday prior to our Monday meeting, And so those I'm certain are more than $50 if we're gonna have
Yeah,
uh
I think the answer to that question would be, timeline is relatively open-ended because it's a thing that's recurring. But when as soon as possible is great. And the question, to answer the question of can it be more than $50, I think, yeah. I think, like, the people that are making this decisions are Ari, Ali, the board, whoever might be on the outreach and training committee. I mean, we're all just people who know each other and we all get to decide. It's all made up. We all get to decide how to spend this money. And so, if you had a really compelling thing and we're all like, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, Maryland's cooking with that, then I think there's no reason why you should think you can only spend $50.
So keep
I
that.
buy
carefully.
one or maybe a
We should
banner.
probably.
I don't know.
Hey,
Okay.
Marilyn, we need to move on to other people because we're just running out of time.
Yeah, thank you for those answers.
Yeah,
I just wanted to confirm, it's basically 3,500 a year is what you're looking at for even this year versus next year. I like the idea of the outreach and training committee and that fits right in with what that is, in terms of using dollars, because in all honesty, $50 is not enough for councils. Most councils go, you can't really do anything with $50. It's not really appropriate. I will say though, the bus signs that you were talking about are very expensive.
No,
They
sorry.
aren't.
No, they're really not. Like you can
Well, there
get,
used to be over $800
You-
for a couple weeks.
Depending upon the program that you're using,
Oh,
they've got
yeah,
different
very a la carte.
programs that you can kind of decide you wanna do this type of thing.
Okay,
If you
well,
want 3 buses, you
Yeah.
want 5 buses, you want 15 buses, you can determine how much it's gonna
well,
cost that way.
if, in the past, it used to be
Right.
very expensive.
Yes.
Can you explain to them the amount? That would help. Yeah, I think we could do like 4 buses for 3 to 4 weeks for like $1,200. Like if we wanted to spend $3,500 on it, we could run a nice long.
Which to me is quite a bit of money. My last thought was, and it's something that we made ourselves for Russian Jack, and we have 2 or 3 signs that say Russian Jack Community Council meeting tonight. And I know other councils have done that as well, and somebody else had mentioned that. And you put it out at the location and people do see it and know where to go. And that's another thought.
So really,
yeah, really quick.
thank you, Kathy Gleason, Turnigan Community Council. So I wanted to follow up on a couple of things. Sounds like we got potentially 2 categories, outreach generic that could cover, all the councils in some way, like a bus signs and that sort of thing. And then if a council has a specific need because of a specific item that needs a lot of outreach and, so it sounds like we're gonna kind of categorize those in 2 separate ways or look at that in 2 separate ways. And Ari, I was shocked to hear that in the past, there were years where we didn't spend all the money and we gave the muni their money back. I cannot recall that FCC ever did that when it came down to at the end of the fiscal year. And there was X amount of money that hadn't been spent yet that we got as our grant from the muni. Then we would vote on as board to put it towards X, Y, or Z. Like more office supplies we made a deliberate attempt to spend every penny of the grant money that we got, even if it was just, we still have $87. Let's go to the office and Office Depot and, get some extra office supplies. I've never heard of us returning money.
That's not what I said. I said we would have to return if we don't spend the
No,
grant.
you said in past years. And I can tell you that I don't believe that has ever happened. I just wanted to clarify that if that's what you were trying to
Yeah, I
say.
think Ari was saying past years we hadn't spent all of it,
Right. And
from
you
that
said-
line item and had to reallocate it, but I see.
No,
what
she
you're
didn't
saying.
say reallocate, she said we gave it back to the community, and I don't believe that's
Sure.
correct.
Well,
So I just wanted to
clarify.
clarify that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think the last thing I'll add, before we move on to the next item is, this is something that I want to try doing more of in North Star, and I've pitched you all to do as well on the topic of spending money, is ask your members for money. to support your community council. And that's something that we have, I don't think I've ever really thought to do, but would like to start doing in North Star, because a little goes a long way. And I don't know how other community councils handle money, but we have not really traditionally asked folks to pay, and our bylaws have a very modest optional dues that we never forget. So anyway, thank you for the great discussion. Yes.
On that, if you're looking at asking members for money, I think that's something that needs to work with the office really closely with the 5013C status and bank accounts. That to me is a very dangerous, slippery.
Yeah, it depends on how it's structured. Like North Star, until recently, we had our own independent bank account, and we were just had a bank account that happened to be in the name of North Star, that the treasurer had to log into, because we're an independent, association. And then we voted as a council to become fiscally sponsored by the FCC. So now the FCC has a line item bank, separate, account within their accounting structure for North Star Community Council. So it just depends on the council. But I agree, yeah, like coordinating with the office, they can help set up things to help you bring in money, that sort of thing. Cool, great. All right, thanks for all the good discussion, everybody. Moving on to the education topic.
Council updates.
Council updates. I would move.
Oh, let me see, we had our picnic and we had our annual summer picnic in July with the pavilion, and it went really well. Then we had our casual meeting. We're putting out a newsletter, which is really good. I took the newsletters and knocked on went around to businesses and dropped off newsletters and talked to businesses about the community council, which was really interesting. I don't know if I got anybody, but it was really interesting seeing what the business concerns were. Some of them had traffic problems with those childcare center that have a busy road next to them, and that was a major concern for them. I'm interested in looking at getting the land along 88 rezoned from industrial to B3. 88 is in the transit supporting corridor. It's currently actually being used as mixed usage, but it's zoned industrial. So so sort of one of my favorite things I want to do is get that rezoned as B3.
Cool. Thanks. And just as a reminder to folks, we have it scheduled for about a minute each of these. Thanks for the update. Airport Heights.
Emily, we got Airport Heights.
Yep, sorry, just finding my unmute button. We don't have anything to report since we're not meeting during the summer. Thank you.
Great. Badger. You're raking Badger?
Yeah, he's here. Dawn, do you have anything to report?
No, we don't have meetings in the summer too. We had a picnic, but I can't tell you how it went because I was out of state. Well, the picnic was on, unfortunately, but so nothing new to report.
Cool.
Oh, and I'll just say picnic supplies are like perfect for the Civic Connections grant. So you have, if you spend some money on food and outreach for that, please let us know and we'd be happy to reimburse.
Cool. Bayshore Plat, I don't know.
I don't think they're here.
They're Bear Valley.
She's also not here.
Birchwood, Campbell Park. Nicole.
Yeah, I'm here. We met in June, but we did not meet in July. We voted as a council to create a public outreach committee. So it kind of goes in line with what you guys have been talking about. And the secretary said that he would be getting in touch with someone there at the FCC to discuss getting an email list. And we'll start with our outreach program there. That's all.
Okay. Daryl, Patricia.
We take the summers off, but we did have an issue that kind of brewed in the area regarding the Mac Center driveway. Just something to be aware of when we had a builder who went in has gone in and has divided up a bunch of land and platted it, building houses now. The driveway to the Mac Center out there isn't a road, it's a driveway, and now that's becoming an arterial. And they're pretty much forcing, we identified that in the original documentation when this guy was moving forward. But now Parks and Rec, our road board out there and the builder are splitting those costs to upgrade that driveway 3 ways. And in my mind, it's not the way to do it. I went out, or we discussed it in our council but it's moving forward that direction. But just be aware that you may have people coming in to develop in your area. And then if there's something left behind, they're going to come ask somebody else to pay for it. So there's something to be aware of.
Thanks.
No downtown, no Eagle River, we're at Eagle River Valley.
Eagle River Valley.
I got Glenn, you have an update?
Yes, we don't meet during the summer, so I have nothing to report.
Thanks for
And
that.
then Tucker? Yeah. She's online. All you, Kelly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear Fairview. Yeah,
All good.
so much. So we do meet. We have a lot going on as usual. We had our Perseverance grand opening. That's our garden on 14th and Ingra. It was a huge success. The mayor came, several dignitaries were there. And if you have a chance to go by, the new sign should be up by now. I just got back into town last night, so I haven't seen it, but it's a beautiful garden. It has been an amazing example of how I think communities can come together and engage and create this beautiful thing out of this really nasty lot. What it was before was horrible. We also had our block party in July. Again, it was a big success. We had more vendors than ever. So we want to thank everybody that participated, all of the vendors that came by. We are trying to recognize good neighbors. We have postcards that several of the board members have been walking around the community, and anyone that we feel is really taking care of their gardens, their homes. We're talking with them, thanking them personally. We're dropping off postcards. We're mailing postcards. And so far, the response has been really positive. People are surprised that they're being thanked for just doing what they really want to do. So that's been really positive. And the last thing is there's a proposal to take down the A Street stairs. I don't know if anybody has heard of that. But if anyone has any ideas, the Fairview Community Council is looking for feedback on that from community members. Get in touch with me if you have any strong feelings about it being taken down. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, are those the stairs from 15th down to A Street?
Correct. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Apparently the homeless have taken them over. Yeah.
Okay, and that's everybody.
Do you want to see if there's anything urgent?
Yeah, anybody else that didn't get to go? Yeah,
I do. So I'd love to share this. So first of all, we have not closed out, but we did complete Beyond the Gray
Fish
grant, and that was completed August 1st, but we'll be closing out the end of the funding fairly soon. So we're pleased with that. Mayor, things went very well, and it's a nice gathering. And it's in the upper part of the dog park at Muldoon is where we had it, because there are 3 bike structures. 2 of them are in that area, and then 1 is below in the actual playground area as you go through to the library. So those are all it. Thank you. That was a great job. And then last time we attended and spoke at the assembly meeting on the Balthasar marijuana shop that's going to go into, and if you know what his tire shop is there, so you've got the bar Muldoon and it's right off the side there, 415th, 16th area. And so he was approved despite the fact that there are protected land uses that are delineated in code, one of them being a playground and the budding parking lot. So that is less than 500 feet to his new establishment. And what we learned last night, last assembly meeting, I'll heard them say it, that planning and zoning has the ability to adjudicate, to determine whether or not that will apply, what applies. And so they get to make those decisions, whether that's really encompassed in those protected land uses or not. And so they have consistently not included that. So I don't know where else that is, but I know that it's where we are. So we have public housing across the street, which is protected land use. We have a therapy clinic that's close by, which is protected land use. And so I will say, even though they passed it 8-3, that they are going to look into how we go. And I do believe in my heart of hearts myself that the reason why it passed is because that has been a procedural thing that's been happening. So basically the assembly has advocated their role, our planning and zoning, to make that decision that they probably felt might do it, that they had to pass it because otherwise I could see a lawsuit coming. You don't do it here, but you didn't do it there, but you're gonna do it here. So that's what I see, but we'll see what they come back with. I just wanted you all to know what lands are available left. Based on the available zoning, there are areas in Muldoon, Lake Otis, the old Seward Highway that are still open for marijuana shops that would be under these codes. So as they're coming into your area, you may want to look at that. We're building a second resolution because our first one wasn't answered, where we wanted it moved from 500 feet to 1,000 feet for protected land use, which is what Eagle River has. And we would like to have that in our area. So I'm offering that to anybody who would like to get onto that and see if they were in the areas.
Thanks, Cameron.
End of story.
Thanks. Anybody else have anything on that? Yeah, Robert.
Yeah, I just want to say to people that our community council, and I know the rest of the Anchorage community, was really saddened by the tragic loss of Karen Braga.
Oh, yeah.
Karen was the past president of our community council, and as you all know, an ex-assembly member. I want to give you notice that the Public Naming Commission is having a hearing on September 9th at 4:00 to rename the connector trail, bike trail, which Karen had a lot to do with promoting. And they're going to rename that in honor of her. If you don't know which trail that is, it essentially goes from near the Benny Benson School, Save to School, or the Botanical Gardens and so on. And it heads east towards the mountain, stays off of Tudor Road, but crosses over the wetlands and stuff and connects back in near the Tudor Muldoon curve. So it's that section that they wish to name for her. So I'm not assuming that many of us are going to be going there to testify in person, but there will be a Zoom meeting. But also written comments would be appreciated. So you can just go into the public notices on the Public Naming Commission, probably find a way to put in your comments there. We'd appreciate your support. Again, that's the meeting is on September 9th at 4 p.m. Thank you.
I can send details in the follow-up email as well.
I'm just gonna ask where are they having that meeting?
And City Hall conference room.
Okay.
So yeah, the downstairs conference room.
Thanks for sending that out to everybody, Ari. Great, well, thanks, everybody. Next item on our agenda is a discussion topic. Jasmine Smith, talking to us about the Mountain View Community Council Fair. Jasmine, if you want to go about it. Jasmine, if you are there, we've got time to speak on the community council fair, but
Hello?
If you, hey, Jasmine, yep, go ahead.
Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. You guys had a lot of business, and I kind of tuned out there, but I
Okay.
am here and I am back. Hold on, let me get my camera on. All right. Okay. Hello. Hi there. Okay. So I will be quick. I don't want to take up everyone's time. I think I know most of you guys, but I'm from Mountain View Vice President, but also do a lot of other things in the community. And I had reached out to the FCC because we were talking about some ideas for some community empowerment events and things that we wanted to bring to the FCC and the leadership and see if that's something that everybody might be interested in collaborating with us on. And I have this written down in proposal form as well that I can email to you guys. But long story short, myself and a few of my other friends who are on different councils and residing in different neighborhoods said it would be awesome if we could do an event that is public facing that would allow people to learn more about our neighborhoods, what makes us unique, do something that would build unity across our city and our community, and then allow us to come together and get more people.
Oh, Jasmine, sorry, you muted there. You're muted,
Sorry,
Jasmine,
I'm
sorry.
muted back again. Sorry about
All
that.
right.
Yeah, so we got the idea that we wanted to propose to everybody about doing some sort of an event that would allow our unique neighborhoods to work together and do something that's public, community facing for one day in 2027 that would feature potentially community councils hosting a vendor table and just showcasing a little bit more about their neighborhood, whether it be food, interesting facts, information, a business they're proud of, whatever the case is, and then everyone coming together at the end and doing some sort of a showcase. We played with multiple names, but I think we were thinking like Neighbor Fest or something around those lines where we pick a location. Councils can host a table. Even if you can't host a table, there can still be an area that shouts out who you are. And then people can come and get a passport to Anchorage. And then each table just kind of has something fun and unique and different that makes that council or that area who they are. And then similar to how they used to do it sometimes, so they would have like geek night and trivia night. It would be an evening activity similar to that where we would have music and performances mixed in with some fun neighborhood trivia that maybe is like the history of neighborhoods, fun facts about neighborhoods, shouting out businesses and people. And the other goal is to see how we can bring out different demographics in our neighborhood. So maybe acknowledging and showcasing youth that are doing great things in their neighborhood or certain neighbors that we wanted to show extra love to in their neighborhood. And so it sounds like a lot, but all that to say, we had an idea to see about doing some sort of a neighbor fest, neighborhood unity style event featuring vendors, which are different community councils. We're all together in one place, playing music. We're learning about each other. We're inviting our youth and neighbors to come out collectively together, and then showcasing why community councils are important and why they're needed. And again, I have it more formalized. I just wanted to, at minimum, bring the idea here first. I can always come back later, more fleshed out. I can email it out to everybody via your channels. I just wanted to at least put the idea out here to start and just see if there's any questions.
Yeah. We have a question.
Yeah, good.
So, I think it sounds incredible, but I'm trying to figure out who is the organizing group for this? And when you say councils and neighborhoods, is the plan to go to different councils, neighborhoods, so that they can highlight that? Or is this Mountain View Council overseeing this and then inviting other councils to have booths there? I'm just trying to figure out.
No, those are good questions. So the original idea came from our 501c3. So outside of council world, I run a 501c3 called Emoja Co-working and Incubator, and we already do a lot of activities and events across the city. But when we were talking about this event, I was like, this would be something great to bring the FCC in and let that really benefit them and showcase them. It just makes the most sense. So it's an idea that we had already talked about under our 501c3. But when we thought about the nitty gritty of it and like who it benefits and who it could be for, we said this would be much better if we put our resources around doing this and planning it, but letting it benefit and piggyback off of the FCC, because that makes the most sense. It wouldn't be individual neighborhoods. It's just one location, one event in one day, and each council that chooses to be part of it would just have their own vendor table. And the vendor table can be whatever you want. You could be like, we're showcasing artists from our neighborhood, or we just have a fun activity that says join our community council. We have youth here running our table, so it's not one council per neighborhood or one event per neighborhood. It's just everybody coming together one day. And the format is kind of similar to how back in the day we used to do like welcoming Anchorage, but that one was more so focused on cultural groups per table, whereas this would be more like either neighborhoods per table or areas of town.
So basically what I'm hearing, just want to clarify so I'm hearing it correctly. You have a 501c, that would be the nonprofit to put it on, so to pay for it and then do the costs and then to gain the income. And councils would be invited to have a table there in order to do their own outreach in this. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, we would partner.
So we would.
The FCC would partner with them, but
yeah.
I wanted to bring it to you. I wanted her to bring it to you guys first because you guys would be doing the work of hosting your own tables. And so I didn't want to put the FCC in something and have a bunch of tables and then have you guys be like, we don't want to do this. So I'm trying to get, which before I said yes to something that sounded really cool to me, but does really need council buy-in, I wanted to kind of see like what the appetite was.
So you would partner and be picked. It would be a combined cost and income.
We didn't get that far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just started. We have a lot of partners around town. So like some of our other events, we don't really have to like pay as much for like vendors. We just because we do so many events, we kind of have our own stuff. Like we have our own sound equipment, we have our own stage. We do events all the time. So like that's why we're saying we don't mind covering all of that because we already have it. We already have access to like free and discount spaces. But to me, if it's neighborhood or city unifying, I'm like, this is FCC. And like, if we can help power it and have it benefit over here, our group is fine, working together and doing it together, empowering it and covering those main expenses. But I just think it'll be a great thing to showcase and maybe breathe new life and get new people involved with our community councils.
Yeah, I think it's great, but I can't do it by myself. Like, I can't host your meetings for you.
Sarah, go ahead.
Devil's in the details.
Yeah, have you gotten to the point yet about like who's our audience and what's our goal? And the reason I ask is, if we're encouraging people like go join your community council, learn more about your community council. What happens if I go and I learn about 6 different community councils that are amazing and I live in none of them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say honestly, I wasn't so much. No, that's okay. So our focus was not specifically like trying to recruit people to work on a council or be on a council, but more so saying all of our neighborhoods are unique. We all have strengths and things that we're proud of and things that we love. So similar to how they have like Best of Alaska or those kind of things, it's like learn about our neighborhoods. If the pathway ends up that you want to be on the council, that's great. If the pathway is we have a really cool youth organization that does cool stuff in our neighborhood, you should know about it. More so unity building and pride. And if that makes them get excited and they want to be part of the council, cool. But it won't be like firm, pick a council to sign up for, where like it's not like voting, you know what I mean? Like what precinct council are to win? But it's like in the meantime, maybe they didn't even know. So we can find a fun way to be like, Anchorage is so dope. All of our neighborhoods and areas do different cool stuff. By the way, if you heard about it, where do you live? Well, in your event you're interested, you might fall over here under there. Go where it suits you. But at minimum, we're having fun. We're coming together. We're showcasing what makes our city unique and what things we're proud of, getting our kids involved, and just having a day where we celebrate our neighborhoods together. So we have like our individual block parties and fairs and picnics and things. So it's like, can we find a day to do something together. And that's where our nonprofit is saying we're happy to power and help, but like, they're saying we got to, have buy-in and see if there's even an interest for that. So we wanted to start off with step one.
And Marilyn, I'll get to you in just a second. I wanted to jump in on that. I think the idea if we did partner would be that I assume Ari and Ally would help us put together some sort of general, like, where a map of the community showing where the community councils are. And I think like I, for one, am always really inspired when I see other community councils do cool stuff. And so I assume it'd be a good opportunity for somebody to be like, whoa, Mountain View's doing awesome stuff. It looks like I live in North Star. I'll sign up for their mailing list. Yeah, definitely. I would be interested in that. I guess before we go to Maryland, just like wanted to put it out there. Hope in the next 4 minutes, make sure we get to talk about what the next steps are, or what our decision making would be, or how folks can help out going forward. Marilyn, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey. Okay, yeah, I'm unmuted. Hey, Jasmine, I think that is a fabulous idea, and I'm wondering if you have a date in mind for this year, or are you planning for next year in the summer or fall? Maybe the fall, I would say, because there are a lot of at recess community councils, but I just really like that idea so much. And I love the big map of the city that highlights the different community councils. So people from all over the city could come and see where they fit in.
Yeah, and that's honestly the goal. So we don't have a date yet, Miss Marilyn. I know we were going to talk about that. I know we're potentially, like, there's like a retreat that the FCC does, and just thinking of like, when is going to make the most sense. So on our end, we're wide open. I know, like, if you're already doing other things and everybody's rallying around the winter retreat or whatever the case is, we can definitely do it then. Our main thing is just saying we do a lot of events and we want to help make it happen. Because I feel like with so much going on right now and us sometimes feeling divided, it'd be great to just come together and be like, outside of all the craziness and the negative things that our council sometimes deal with or are known for, we are doing some cool, good stuff too. And we have great people powering our neighborhoods. Let's just have a day and come together. So we're open to whatever date FCC makes the most sense and streamlines what is already happening.
Cool. Thanks. And then just wanted to ask folks in the room, a thumbs up or give us a thumbs up if you feel like your community council might be interested in. For the folks online,
middle if you're like,
or thumbs middle. And then for the folks online, raise your hand or do a thumbs up or whatever else you
taking a
can do.
temperature check of like how you're feeling about it right now.
Cool.
I feel like Spinard is like all in.
Thumbs up.
Spinard is like.
Yeah, and it's okay if you're like, you know what, this is for us, or like, there's no wrong
Yeah, or like,
answer,
I
just
need a
like-
little bit more information or whatever. That's fine. Let's start somewhere.
Yeah, I think what would be great is if, I'll put this in the follow-up email, take this back to your council, see if there's one or two people who are really invigorated about it. We'll come back and we'll put it in the agenda for the next meeting and plan some sort of follow-up. So even if it's not you who is the person who wants to be the spearhead on this, maybe somebody else, see if we can't get a little group together to talk about it more in depth with some councils who are committed to it. And then we can kind of say like, yes, this is 100% or no, and try to kind of have that idea sometime in October maybe. So we'll come back to this, but I would say in your September meetings, go back to your councils, please talk to them about it, see what they think, or if there's other ideas that are coming out of as you guys talk about this, and then come back to us and report back and we'll follow up next meeting. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, we won't have our next meeting until after the next FCC meeting. Ours is the 17th.
Okay. Well, there will be opportunity for another round of like follow up too.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jasmine, for coming to talk about that and for the idea. I think that's really rad. And I think planning for something in the summer or fall and getting started sooner rather than later on it would be awesome. So looking forward to working on that.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Rad. Well, next thing on our agenda is a discussion topic.
Yes.
What were you saying?
Me, I'm in charge of this discussion topic, or you want me
Thank
to?
you. Yes, please.
Yes, yeah, okay, hi guys. Okay, so we are kind of following up on some of the conversation that we had last time about like, what is the things that you guys want to see? What is it that you want to talk about? And so what we want to do, because there's so many of us, is do a little bit more of like breakout groups and some reporting back to get some ideas about what do you want out of coalition meetings. So what we're gonna do is in person, we're gonna have you guys break up into groups of 3 or 4. Online, we're gonna put you into breakout groups. And we want you to just take a minute. We'll be doing this for like 15 minutes. So take a minute, introduce yourself if you don't know the people that you're speaking with. And then we have 3 questions. What do you get the most out of coalition meetings? What do you feel is missing from coalition meetings? And what is one issue that you would like to connect with other community councils on? So I will put this in the chat and it will be on the screen as you guys are chatting. And then I'll give you guys like 5 minutes to talk about each of those questions as a group. And then we'll kind of come back and one person from each group will kind of talk about the major themes from that discussion, right? So we kind of have a chance to work together, talk about some of answer these questions and then report back as a group. And this will give us an idea, both Jade and myself, about what we can bring into this meeting and how we can structure this meeting in a way that better supports you guys. So, I will make these questions really big, but first I'm just going to do the breakout. If in the room, you guys want to break out into groups of 3 or 4 and then start with introducing yourselves. And then the first question is, what do you get the most out of the coalition meetings? You have like 5 minutes for that first question. So, if you haven't picked somebody to kind of report back on what you guys talked about, thank you for trying this exercise with me. I really appreciate it. But we kind of want to, get some of these questions and hear what all of your guys' answers were. I'm sorry, I'm multitasking with this document here. So just starting with what do you feel you get the most out of the meeting? This group, do you guys want to like share a little bit about what you talked about with that question?
Yeah, we get out of it meeting with people from other community councils.
Okay,
and finding out what they're doing.
Great, I love it. Okay, this group.
Basically, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna keep it simple, shared information.
Got it.
Between councils.
It's problem solving amongst community council.
Shared information, problem solving. Okay, great. This group, my group before.
Same thing from us, like learning about what issues are important to other community councils and what things that they have going on. Like Northeast is doing a series of presentations from folks at the school district about like particular issues like nurses and curriculum and that sort of thing, and just like learning about what they've got going on is great.
Great. Okay, I'm just closing the screen. What about from one of our online groups? So we had 2 groups online. Does anybody want to share with what they talked about?
I can share for Nicole and Emily. Let's see, Airport Heights, and then I don't know the other community council. Anyway,
Campbell Park.
Campbell Park, thank you. Pretty much all the same, that we like hearing about what's going on with other community councils, gives us ideas and to take back to our own community councils. And then just, hearing what's important to other community councils and how maybe we can interface.
Great. And then I think our other group was Midtown, Basher, and Girdwood. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I'll speak. I'm not representing Girdwood. I'm not the delegate. But
thank you.
Yeah, I think actually the feedback from both Don and Chris is primarily around it's the best source of information from sort of the school district and and the mayor's office, and it's an opportunity to have more sort of detailed conversations and better questioning than sometimes other forums. So that's really where the benefit was. I have a slightly different perspective, but I'm probably similar to other groups. I think I like hearing from other councils, but I think that's a very well point. It's a better forum often for these more detailed conversations with kind of the government than other forums.
Great, thank you. And do you want to talk about the next question? We'll like boomerang back. Do you want to answer the next question? Share one issue. What do you feel is missing from coalition meetings?
I think we didn't quite touch on that. It was more of what can go wrong with coalition meetings, and I think the feedback today was specifically on today's meeting was we ended up spending a lot of time on something that's really a board problem, not a coalition problem in terms of the money. So it's the sort of thing that in the past, we've spent a lot of time when we didn't have a separate coalition meeting on, and we perhaps spent too much time on it today. I think, it's understandable why we're still learning, but perhaps less of that in the future.
Got it.
Don and Chris, if I misrepresent anything or I missed anything, just please shout.
Okay.
You were fine.
Mike, you're doing great.
Great, thank you guys. Marilyn, did you want to add with what your group is missing from coalition meetings?
Oh, sure. And I do want to say thank you to Emily from Airport Heights and Nicole from Campbell Park. We felt like we definitely could use more positivity, more positive information about really what's going on positively with community councils around. We want to really encourage new voices. There are several newbies, and I still consider myself a newbie as well, even though I've been coming to these meetings for about 4 years. I'm feeling like I'm still getting my feet on the ground. So just encouraging more voices, more perspectives, and perhaps maybe making some subgroups within like Campbell Park is such a large district that subgroups in that area in particular might help them to hone in for the whole area, for the whole community council. But as Nicole said, a lot of that area is also parkland. So those were some of the things that we discussed, and
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, and to my group of 4 in person, anything you guys wanted to add?
On what's missing?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we talked about the idea of doing special meetings. For example, like a special meeting about schools,
so like topic meetings.
Yeah, topic-based special meetings of the coalition.
Special.
Yeah, of the coalition to give folks an opportunity to work more together, talk more together about items of interest, public safety, schools, etc.
Yeah.
I think would be great, and was pleasantly surprised maybe to hear that everybody in our group would be like totally down to come to those, because I know people get meeting fatigue. But maybe the folks that are here are a self-selecting group of people who don't mind coming to meetings. So yeah, I think that's a really great idea, and I think definitely 100% something we will try to do sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And I think also maybe an opportunity for the committees to propose if there's a thing that comes up in a committee or among a district or groups of councils based thing. I think is also really love that. I think Sylvia has done an awesome job organizing District 1 community councils, and that's been really great. And yeah, I would love to see other folks doing something similar. I think other things in terms of things that are missing. One thing we talked about was maybe that we could try to put together, and this is something maybe you and I can talk more about if it's not going to be too much work, but some sort of digest that's really high level of things that community councils have on their agendas. The Northeast agenda item of talking about nurses and curriculum, and then enrollment at the schools, I think is a really cool thing that North Star might be interested in doing. And just having more awareness of what the other community councils are up to from month to month to inspire us oh yeah, we want to talk about that too, or oh, like North Star is working on surveillance resolution. We've been thinking about that. Let's go ask them about it, and I think that could be cool. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what folks think about that. Did I miss anything?
Next group? I'm just moving us through so we don't take time.
Yeah, I think we'd actually like to hear more from elected officials.
More from
Like an opportunity to engage.
Yeah, and maybe rotate, right now, we always have mayor's office, the assembly.
School board and
School
planning.
board and planning. Maybe we start reaching out to some of the other areas within municipalities like the task force on homelessness. Can they come in and give us an update or brief on what they're doing, where they need the community's help? Whether it's, the police department or fire or whoever, even like the wildland fire group or something like that. It'd be nice to have additional and probably on a rotational basis, not all at the same meeting, but on a rotational basis, have them come in and kind of provide us with information.
Great.
And the last thing I had was like direction, like what's our goal of this meeting? But that's what we're working on. So, but to say
I'm putting it
that.
off.
We'll get there.
My last group?
Sure. Okay, so you want to go? It doesn't matter. Well, I think, probably more opportunities for councils to dialogue about similar things that may be happening and how they're dealing with it. And, also have I don't know if a workshop would be the proper way, or just have a special meeting or a different meeting, or little ones come to, so we just have it on a monthly agenda of how we can better impact and have an effect on projects or issues that councils are weighing in on, either it's a comment period or, whatever project, and find out how we can have more of an impact, because traditionally, and so we're going back many, many decades, for example, Turnigan, we've weighed in on so many things. I'd have to say in the more distant past, we've had better influence on the outcome of any given thing that might happen within our boundaries. But that has really been diluted over time, where we still give that major input, a 5-page comment letter of this or that. And then in the end, nothing that we put together that we did, that a land use committee talked about for 2 hours, made any difference. We were pretty much isolated out of implementation of any kind of, and so we thought maybe collaborating, regionally or, whatever might come up, that we can learn from each other, and then we weigh in on something collaboratively. So they're not just getting testimony in front of the assembly from that council, but maybe from that council, that council, that council, and that council on that night. And it may have more of an impact, but that's something I think is missing, where we could get some more collaboration on what might be effective.
Great. Okay, and I'm gonna go back to you guys for, give me just 1 or 2 issues really quickly, because we're at time of that you want to specifically connect on with about other councils. That last question.
You were the one that
Just pick 1 or 2. I'm looking for common themes here.
You have to understand that I'm pretty much a newbie as well. Having only been here about a year.
Can I make a comment? There's something listed here. I really don't like this at all. I come to these meetings because no one else from my CC will come. And that's the blunt truth. We want subgroups by councils and districts. My CC doesn't want that. And I think we need to be realistic with what we're doing with this meeting. What is the purpose of the meeting? In the past, it was to bring information to our CCs from government officials. That's what I want personally. I need to know what information is out there so that I can bring it to my CC and work with it. And if we're going to be talking about these meetings, I think we need to do something that's really realistic. And like I say, my group is not going to do any subgroups. They don't have time. They don't have the energy.
I think this is just kind
Maybe
of
other cities
brainstorming,
do,
Chris.
but mine does not.
Okay,
great. A hard time getting board members because the amount of time it takes to be on this, to be in a CC and to be active in a CC. And I don't know if you guys have problems, but I know several other community councils that are having the same issues as we are.
I think that's an issue or something we could put down on our list we're trying to get now, the issues we want to connect with other community councils on, like how to grow membership and how to get more board engagement, I think is definitely something that's a common topic.
Yeah,
I would
thank
agree
you.
with you.
I appreciate the feedback.
I think.
But just to go back to you guys really quick, did you have one or two? Because I do. Elected officials are next, and that was a big thing that you guys wanted to hear. So it's just one or two things that you guys want to talk about with other councils.
Oh, well, again, what he was saying, he's dealing with, Eagle River, and there's 6 Eagle River community councils. And it's like how to pull those community councils together.
Especially if you have a common interest or a common problem or whatever. And also, I personally would like to know within this group and within the councils, if there's a particular issue where expertise is needed, who has that expertise? And I'll toot my own horn a little bit, although I've been retired for 12 years. I used to work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and their regulatory section, permitting and wetlands, mainly. So I have that expertise. If someone needs to call on me for that, even though I'm well out of date on a lot of this stuff, I had to deal with the issues where you had to deal with all the state, federal, local agencies, all the federal laws, etc.
I really appreciate it, but I want to just like get around the room really quick. This group, one or two topics?
Municipal notifications.
Huh?
Municipal notifications, improving efficiency on those notifications so they go to the right people.
Great, specifically when it comes to property issue.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's really what we're talking about. Okay, great.
Ours, we talked about public safety, homelessness, schools, and marijuana dispensaries. Anything else we talked about that's high?
Things that come up before.
Great.
Put them in there.
Perfect. Marilyn, did you have one? Your group have one or two?
Yes, we had one in particular, very positive for all community councils was Jasmine's idea of a community council fair. And I think that is an excellent way that we can promote all community councils and try to collect more membership.
Great, thank you. And then Mike, for your group, did you have one more?
Well, we covered homelessness issues. What's the other one? Oh, there were some road projects as well, which definitely have impact. I think specifically around Denali was the one that came up, but I know there are others as well.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you guys for trying this with me and giving it a little fun. Jade and I will be using this to figure out what making some of this happen for you guys. And with that, how do I stop this thing? I always forget. There we go. With that, I do know that Carl is here, so I will let him go first because Anna and Daniel Bolland are both traveling this week, so they told me one of them will be here in September. And I have not heard from the mayor's office, but I will shoot them a text. But Carl.
Hi there. Can you folks hear me okay?
Yeah. Good to hear from you.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, everyone. Carl Jacobs here with the ASD School Board. Just a couple quick updates, and happy to answer any questions, and then allow you to move on with the rest of your agenda. I know you guys are always very busy. First, wanted to celebrate that today is the first day of school. I know I noticed the additional traffic on our roads, and I'm hoping that every family with students had a successful first day. Want to give a shout out to all the amazing educators that make our schools operate, and want to recognize that the board was able to add roughly 100 educator positions to the budget. In no small part due to funding that was allocated through the Alaska legislature, both roughly $11 million that was guaranteed in House Bill 263, I believe, or the state operating budget. And then in addition to that, the board allocated roughly $6 million from anticipated funding from the waterfall provision that was added to anticipate future excess oil revenue that will allow the district to invest in classrooms, reduce class sizes from where the adopted budget landed. And so we're in the process of hiring those educators right now. My understanding is 70 of those 100 positions have been filled, and administration is working on filling the rest. It has been a challenge, to be transparent, because most educators have found employment who are seeking to teach this school year. And so administration is getting creative on how to fill those positions, but they're working very hard to get those spots filled so that we have more educators in buildings. And our hope is that in future years that the state will allocate funding in a timeline that more aligns with school district budget cycles, which will facilitate an easier time having those positions filled with talented educators and avoid potential harmful impacts of budget instability due to uncertainty in state funding. With that said, there's one other item I wanted to bring up to the Federation's awareness. That is, the board last night at our meeting adopted a resolution which calls for a year moratorium, so through the end of the school year, on school right sizing or school consolidation or repurposing proposals. That was adopted by the board, and so the superintendent has been transparent that his administration wouldn't recommend closures. The board last night showed solidarity by adopting a stance of a similar nature and made a commitment that it will not pursue consolidation proposals or closures or building repurposing pursuits for at least the upcoming school year. There is a carve-out exception in case of a emergency. During debate that was discussed as kind of an act of God or an earthquake, something of that nature. With that said, that is the bulk of my report. Happy to answer any questions, and then again step aside and appreciate the ability to brief you folks tonight.
We have one question online.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Carl. I'm really thankful that you're here at this meeting today. In the past, we've had a person from the school board come to our CC meetings. And about 2 years ago, we had a problem, and that particular person did not come back. Last year, I think we were only had a representative maybe at 2 of our meetings. How can we ensure that we're going to have somebody from the school board come to our meetings so that we can ask our questions in our meetings? It's really valuable to our people.
Sure. Which council are you from?
Midtown.
Midtown. Okay. Yep. No, I believe I understand you had a challenge with Member Higgins. I will contact the representative who's assigned to your council and ensure that they plan on attending. I believe your meeting is during the business day. Is that right?
We meet the second Wednesday of every month at 12 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know who's assigned. It's not myself. I don't know who's assigned this year, but I will reach out to them and let them know that your council expressed interest in having someone present at each meeting. And as far as I know, board members anticipate attending. I would say if you have challenges with attendance, it's always best to shoot me an email and I can follow up with the member who's assigned. My email is jacobs_carl@asdk12.org. Happy to, even if our policy is that even if someone is unavailable to attend, our goal is to try and get someone out there in attendance. And so we'll work to make sure that happens.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate the question.
Any other questions in the room or online? Yeah, Pam.
Carl, could we get a clarification of those 100 new educators in the classrooms, is what I'm assuming? Did you say the money came from, it's a combined amount of money from HB 263 and then future possible money? Is that what you're doing? Borrowing funding on
Yeah.
future possible money?
So I apologize. I think there was two pieces of legislation, and I can't recall them off the top of my head. There was an operating budget bill, and then there was a separate bill that allocated funding for energy relief, I believe. Although all the funding ended up being in the operating budget, so really everything is through the operating budget. With that said, the only funding that is uncertain is there were projected revenues that were going to be allocated to school districts across Alaska. However, the revenues remain projected because it's based off of those oil revenues, and there isn't certainty until the report is finalized, which I understand is at the end of August. And so at the end of this month, the revenue projections will become actuals, and the Department of Revenue Commissioner will have data to ascertain if the projected revenue that was allocated to school districts after a waterfall of provisions and allocations were met as well, if that revenue is actually available to allocate to school districts. It is anticipated that the revenue is available, but until the actuals are final and reviewed, nothing is certain. The if the entirety of that revenue is realized, I believe ASD could see north of $30 million. The board allocated roughly $6 million and anticipating that there will be something allocated. It's not an all or nothing proposal. If oil revenues fall a bit short of what was projected, ASD will receive a proportionate share based on what the oil revenue actual numbers were. And so while we don't know for certain that the entirety of the 30 million or so, it's just north of that, will be available, the board felt comfortable after receiving a letter from about a dozen members of the Alaska House Majority, urging our district in particular to feel safe in allocating a portion of those dollars. So once we were contacted by lawmakers who had additional information from the Legislative Finance Division and other insights, the board ultimately felt comfortable with making that allocation prior to school starting, which allowed us to hire additional teachers to be present today on the first day of school. So hopefully that answers your question. If that didn't make sense, please just let me know.
No, thank you, Carl. That explains that. I was worried you were encumbering expenditures that you weren't going to have money for, which would be a whole nother bailiwick. But you'll know by August 31st, so that's good to know. Thank you.
Great.
Of course.
Thank you, Carl. We do have two other elected officials online. I'm gonna let Paul go really quick because he doesn't have too much of an update. He told me in advance, Paul.
Thank you. Yes, like most of you guys, kind of the summer's just been what it is, and I've been on vacation a lot, like a lot of people, and so yeah, hopefully you've been enjoying it. Not too much from planning this summer. We've been working on a couple things that you guys will be seeing in the upcoming months, and we're hoping to get out to more of the community councils this year and just be a presence so that you guys have a contact from planning if you ever have any questions, if you ever want someone to come to the community council to present on anything or have questions on projects going on. We're not too involved with the missing middle housing that Assemblymember Baldwin Day and Martinez are working on. We are kind of supplemental and just providing data and information as needed, but not really running with that one. So I don't have anything on that. And I know there is some upcoming stuff with the B3, but it's still in the works. So I can answer any questions if anybody's got any questions. That's kind of why I came, in case anybody had any concerns or questions or needed us to come to any community councils in the upcoming months.
We have one question, Lizzie.
Yeah, what were you doing with B3?
They are changing. So we've had about a year ago out in Chugach Eagle River, a couple had their garage burned down, and they are in what's called the Chugach Eagle River B3 zoning district, and they had a single family home. And so they went to get a permit, and a single family home is not an allowed use in the B3 zoning district currently. And so there's a motion, a move to allow, if someone were to have an existing B3 lot with a non-conforming single family home, to be able to just maintain that. It'd become a permitted use and conforming, so that there's not this need for a variance or an appeal. That was the other dilemma. They had to go through an actual appeal. It was granted because they didn't have non-conforming rights or grandfather rights, so they had to go through the whole process. Not too unsimilar from when we came around last year, and we're looking at doing at reducing the R6 and the Chugach Eagle River R6 dimensional standards or setbacks, which has been very helpful. That we don't have any numbers specifically, but between land use and us, we know there's probably been at least 12 property owners so far in the last 6 months, either getting new building permits or coming in to close out or remodels, that have not had to go through a variance process because their structures now meet the dimensional standards for that zoning district.
Thank you, Paul. Okay. And last but not least, we've got Nora from the mayor's office for the rest of our time.
The rest of the time? That feels like a lot of power. No, I'm just kidding. Hi, everyone. Sorry.
3 hours left.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Sorry, I lost track of time. So, thank you for bugging me. We have a couple things for you. One, upcoming events. We have a couple of fun upcoming events that I want to make sure that you and your council members know about. The first one is on the 25th of August. We are having a community housing conversation. The mayor will do kind of an update on the 10,000 homes in 10 years initiative, and then a little bit of information about what the municipality has been doing, the results that we are seeing, and then kind of open it up to like, what do you all want to see? What do we want in our community? What don't we want in our community? Talk about housing. So that is, again, August 25th. It's at the BP Energy Center. Starts at 5:30, goes until 7:30. Second, we are out in communities talking about our waste to energy project. So we have 2 more kind of open houses, town halls. There's actually one tonight, so I'm sorry if you missed that. The next one is the 26th, and that's at 1 p.m. and it's hybrid, so you can either join on Zoom or go to the central transfer station. And then there is one on September 9th. I can also email this out, but there's one on September 9th, and that one is virtual only at 7 o'clock. And then after they get through those, our team that's talking about waste to energy is going to be reaching out to community council presidents to see if they can get on y'all's agenda in the upcoming fall. So if that's something you're interested in, your council wants to hear from us, please let me know and I can connect you with the right people to get that scheduled. And then another thing, we're going to be reaching out 2 things. One, I'm reminding all the staff in the mayor's office to reach out to the community councils who took breaks over the summer as you all kind of plug back in the fall to get on agendas. We know September might be busy, so looking for September, October time, but just I'll have everyone reach out soon to make sure that we are coming to see you all in the near future. And then I'm also working with our property assessment team to come and present to community councils a little bit of like what is happening for next year's assessments. You know, I think a lot of people know that we changed the way that we do our assessments, our property assessments. And so our tax assessor, Jack Gadamus, is going to come to community councils, talk a little bit about what he's expecting to see in the next year for assessments, kind of what those changes look like. And good news is we're seeing everything kind of level out. So we won't see big swings in property assessments. And I'll pause because I saw Marilyn. Did you have a question or was that just a fun emoji?
I do have a question, actually. Many of the things you noted already, Nora, are in our neighbor to neighbor communication from the FCC.
Great.
So please, people, read that. And I understand you are assigned to Rogers Park Community Council to come to our meeting. So
yes,
look forward to seeing you in person.
Yeah, I think I'm already on the agenda. I think Scott approved me for September, so I will be there.
Yes, but Scott has retired from president, and now we have a new president, which I will be getting our new slate of our executive board to you, Ari, and it is Jill Klein, and she's a wonderful gal and very smart and organized. So we'll see you soon.
Yeah, exciting to see you guys and to meet Jill.
Thanks.
And then the other, I'll just talk for one more second, and then if you guys have questions, I won't blab at you. The other kind of big things that have happened this summer that I hope everyone has seen is we have well, that's not true. We have a lot of major projects happening downtown that are really exciting. Town Square Park is basically completely gone if you've been there. We are completely redoing Town Square Park. It's really exciting. It will not be open this winter. A lot of the concrete work is being done right now, and we're hoping to get in the landscaping that makes sense to put in now before it gets cold. And then it will not open this winter because we won't have lighting, and we don't want people to be or feel unsafe in the park without lights. But we are planning on putting fun lights on the fence and decorating it and making it not feel like a big construction zone. So look forward to that. Peratrovich Park is also under construction currently. So we have a fence up around Peratrovich Park. That one should be done the end of September, and we're hoping to have an opening, a soft opening, and then probably a big opening celebration around Indigenous Peoples Day, and do some cool history of the park of Elizabeth Peratrovich and kind of honor that park in October. So I'll make sure you all get that invite as well once it's scheduled. The downtown library is also breaking ground. It's going under construction in the next 2 weeks. They're in there right now doing kind of like some mitigation work, but the big construction will begin in September, and that should be ready to go and getting books in December, looking for like a February opening. But staff will probably be in December and start getting like the actual fun stuff put in and getting books ordered and all that. And then we are also redoing a bunch of sidewalks downtown. So if you've seen some sidewalk construction, we have sidewalks projects happening on 4th, 5th, and 6th. We intentionally delayed those to give tourists some last usage of our potholy sidewalks, and we will be enjoying our new sidewalks. If you've seen, some of them are already done around the pack because we have those roads closed for Town Square, so we maximized our time. But the painting isn't done. We're going to do painting of the curbs all at once. So if you see some that look nice, but the curbs are not done, that is why we will be painting the curbs. And then we tore down the big timber, which was really exciting. They should be done completely in the next 2 days, and that lot will be ready to be sold, and we will recoup those costs and hopefully get something good in that lot. I will stop talking now if people have questions about other stuff going on.
Questions? Yeah. Oh, contact, yeah, Nora, I have Nora's email, so I can.
Okay.
It goes in our weekly newsletter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nora's, the timeline for projected opening of Town Square Park next summer, sorry if I missed that.
Oh, no, you're right. I don't think I said that. We're hoping for like June next summer. This time in May to get like light poles in if the ground thaws enough. So it's a little bit weather dependent, but getting light poles in. We probably won't have like our big iconic art feature in yet because it's going through the jury process right now, and it might take time depending on what is selected, but we're planning to open the park before that's maybe in yet because we don't want to lose another summer.
Cool.
Great.
Marilyn, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wonder about Christmas tree lighting. It's always been at Town Square, so where will it be this year?
That is funny. I had 3 meetings today about the holiday lighting because I also want to have a big fun event. We are likely going to move it to Peratrovich Park. I'm sourcing a tree and a tree plan currently to make sure that we can get something in there. And then the plan is probably we're going to close off 4th Avenue, work with the downtown partnership to get like some food trucks in, bring the mobile library out, and do our big party at Peratrovich Park with a temporary tree. And then I will say, I will warn everybody, the tree for Town Square Park has to go in a little bit, well, small so that it grows because I've learned a lot about putting in a big tree right away, not ideal. So we will have a little bit of a smaller tree at the beginning of Town Square Park when it reopens, but we're going to watch our tree grow.
Tree, like, is that all that's being planted?
No, the Christmas tree.
The particular fir that they use to light every year.
Yeah. Any other questions for our lovely mayoral representative?
And please do reach out at any time. You all should have my phone number and email. If you have questions, do not hesitate.
Great, thank you, Nora.
Thank you.
And just
Thank you.
before we finish, I wanna, if you're in person, in your packets at the back is a list of programmatic things we have coming up. I will also be putting all of this in the follow-up email if you're online, but North Star Community Council brought to our attention that other community councils might want to hear more about vacant, abandoned, and dangerous buildings. So we reached out to the mayor's office, code enforcement, and APD, and they will be doing a local lens with us about what they do with vacant, abandoned, and dangerous buildings and what that process is like. You know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's not always clean and quick as we want it to be. And then the next thing is that we still have plenty of space for the community council facilitator training. That is on Saturday, August 29th, and it's on Zoom, so you can join us there. It's going to be great. I was just in a meeting about it. It's going to be so fun. That is to give you tools to facilitate productive dialogues. And then we are hosting our first fundraiser at Beartooth Theater. We're screening Join or Die, which is about why people stopped getting involved in civic clubs like bowling leagues and churches and unions and what we can do to change it. And I think it's something that all of us have experienced. You know, declining membership rates is not unique to community councils. It's a nationwide thing. So this talks a lot about that. And I would just encourage you guys all to come, and obviously Beartooth is great. So we're really excited to be doing that. And then a small reminder of how to apply for the Civic Connections micro grants at the bottom. So that we did extend that to, I think I extended it to October 31st. But if the money doesn't get spent, we'll just keep rolling it out. So, but we'd love to get anything that you want to get spent or reimbursed from this summer. Let us know. The Beartooth fundraiser, I got a question, is Monday, September 14th at 6 p.m. And the link is online. There's still plenty of good seats available. So, $15. There you go. Yes, and we do get a portion, which is great.
The more seats we sell, the more portion.
Yes, the more seats we sell, the more a portion, but I also think that this is a great relevant documentary. We're not just showing any movie. I really wanted to do something that was relevant to us, and this is exactly what you guys kind of need to hear, so.
Thanks, and then one last plug for the FCC board committees, the executive committee, the finance committee, the government, or the finance committee, governance committee, and outreach committee would be the ones that would be most relevant to you all. If you have interest in any of those committees, chat with me after or send
Or me or Mike, hit up somebody on the board and we'll get you connected, so.
Thanks everybody for being here and for the great discussion today.